Namaste. As we know, these days, we are all going through a very difficult moment. The earth is going through a difficult moment, and we are looking for outer causes and outer remedies. Well, when we look for only outer causes and outer remedies, we tide over a crisis, but we leave the seeds of the evil untouched. And it springs again, it springs again, it returns with a greater and greater vehemence. So, what is needed right now is a course correction to look for the inner causes and the inner remedy. So, there is a beautiful prayer of the Mother, February 1st, 1914, where she speaks of the inner causes of all that happens upon earth. And it starts with the Mother turning towards the divine. She is the Divine Mother, but she is showing us how to go through this process, this period, these stages. She is showing us how to turn to the divine and pray during hours of crisis. I turn towards thee who art everywhere and within all and outside all, intimate essence of all and remote from all, center of condensation for all energies, creator of conscious individualities. This is the divine who we must seek, a divine which assumes all names and yet is beyond all names. A divine who dwells as the universal divine presence in the heart of every creature, be it an ant, a germ, be it the galaxies, be it man, the bird, the beast, the stone. He pervades all things. He is not just the divine of a limited religion, of a sect or a cult, but the divine who is the indwelling universal. She invokes the divine. I turn towards thee and salute thee. O liberator of the worlds, and identified with thy divine love, I contemplate the earth and its creatures. If we want to look at things with clarity, if we want to look at things in their depths, in their essential truth, then we must look at them with the eyes of the divine, in the light of the divine. This mass of substance put into forms, perpetually destroyed and renewed. It's not the first time that we see the dance of death. Death has been there, stalking human life. And perhaps it is time that we must find the permanent way out of this impasse which we face time and again in one form or the other. Whether it be epidemics, whether it be wars, whether it be other kinds of conflicts. This swarming mass of aggregates, which are dissolved as soon as constituted. It is time to look within in this moment of isolation that we are given. To look within and look at human life, its transient nature, how soon it vanishes. We may think that 60 or 70 or 80 or 90 is a long life. But if we look at it from the eternity of becoming, we'll see that it vanishes as soon as it is born, as soon as it is formed, dissolved as soon as constituted, of beings who imagine that they are conscient and permanent individualities. This is a lesson that we are here to learn. How fragile can our humanity be? And in this moment of fragility, we can discover the greatest strength within us. We can discover the one who, in the light of Sri Aurobindo, who speaks of the Upanishads and says that within us dwells the one who can create and destroy a million universes with a single breath. Of beings who imagine that they are conscient and permanent individualities and who are as ephemeral as a breath, always alike or almost the same. In their diversity, repeating indefinitely the same desires, the same tendencies, the same appetites, the same ignorant errors. This is what we have to look within and extricate and cast away far, far, far away from us. No more errors, no more illusions, no more these bonds of ignorance, these wanton ambitions, these giant appetites, this driven at the mercy of every desire and fear. This we have to cast away from us. This is the yagna going on, and in this world yagna we must offer all this into the great flame of purification. But from time to time, thy sublime light shines in a being and radiates through him over the world, and then a little wisdom, a little knowledge, a little disinterested faith. It's a beautiful word. Not a faith which is depends upon the outer conditions, not a faith which depends upon our individual health, our individual illnesses and cure and relief and remedies, but a faith which is a faith in the divine becoming, regardless of whatever may happen to us personally and individually. This is the disinterested faith. Heroism and compassion. Heroism that demands the sacrifice of the ego at the feet of Mother Kali, who is dancing through earth, asking for this complete self giving of our ego self. Compassion. Compassion towards all creation. We have lived life like a glutton, with greed, with ambition. Now is the time to feel for the life of the tiniest of creatures. Heroism and compassion penetrates men's hearts, transforms their minds, and sets free a few elements from that sorrowful and implacable wheel of existence to which their blind ignorance subjects them. We are confronting this blind ignorance. We are confronting all those bonds which have tied us from leading a true life, a divine life, a truly spiritual life. And she is coming and breaking those bonds by showing us how ephemeral our life is. We think, we glorify it, we think as if we are indispensable. And now is the time when we can confront in this dance of death how transient all human life can be. But how much greater a splendor than all that have gone before. How marvelous a glory and light would be needed to draw these beings out of the horrible aberration in which they are plunged by the life of cities and so-called civilizations. More than 100 years before, she is showing us the hideous face that is hidden behind the glitter and glamour of the city, the face of wanton ambition, the face of lust, the face of greed, the face of lust for power and wealth, and all that she has shown us. We didn't heed, and now we can see all that in its darkness. What a formidable and at the same time divinely sweet puja would be needed to turn aside all these wills from the bitter struggle for their selfish, mean, and foolish satisfactions, to snatch them from this vortex which hides death behind its treacherous glitter and turn them towards thy conquering harmony. So, this what is happening today, that the life of cities, civilizations, the pride of being more civilized is plunged into darkness, and we are being forced to isolate ourselves and turn within, where alone we can find the real cause and the true remedy. O Lord, eternal Master, enlighten us, guide our steps, show us the way towards the realization of thy law, towards the accomplishment of thy work. This should be our sole will, our single preoccupation. It's no more about my will, my safety, my health, my concern, my illness, but the divine law that must be manifested here upon earth. Here and now, I adore thee in silence and listen to thee in a religious concentration.